Hola muchachos, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. Aquí tienen el horario para hoy, martes el 17 de mayo. No homework due for today. Continue studying for your final exam, which is in 2 weeks. We're going to begin chapter 9, which is about the future, goals, careers, professions, and how to express those using the future tense, although we're just going to go over the vocabulary today. Your warm-up is to fill in the blanks with either the correct form of the imperfect or preterite. You can see the page numbers provided there for either tense. And then we're reviewing the notes on page 248 and completing this exercise. On page 248, we talked about how the imperfect is used with expressions of time, weather, and feelings. And most of the warm-up questions correspond with those three situations. This is page 248, the notes from last class. Number 1, eran las 3 de la mañana cuando llegué a casa. Eran, because we're referring to time, and llegué, L-L-E-G-U-E, with an accent. In the preterite, irregular in the preterite because it's a cargar-zar verb, and that's articulated on page 110. Hacías calor y sol ayer por la tarde. These are expressions of weather, and that's why the imperfect is used here for number 2, hacía. Number 3, ayer mi hermano practicó la guitarra. Eran las 4:30 de la mañana. Practicó, with an accent above the O. And then eran, again, like number 1, this is a description of time. Ayer mi hermano practicaba la guitarra cuando mi madre nos llamó a cenar. Practicaba is an action in the event of, or in the act of taking place, and then llamó as a completed action with an accent above the O. We'll review those notes on page 248 together for a more detailed review. You can watch the video from the previous class session. And then we're going to get into chapter 9. Chapter 9, again, is all about your future goals and aspirations. We'll watch a video and answer comprehension questions. Actually, I don't think we'll have time to go over exercises 6 and 7. I think I'll give you instead some time to work on your speaking questions for the final exam. So let's take a look at page 448, the beginning, or excuse me, page 450. The beginning of the beginning of chapter 9. In chapter 9, and we're only going to spend 3 classes on it, so it's just a brief introduction. You'll learn how to listen and read about students' future plans, talk and write about high school activities and career plans that you have, and then exchange information about what high school will be like for new students. So page 450 gives you an introduction, or page 452 rather, gives you an introduction to vocabulary used to talk about future goals and aspirations. You're not responsible to know all this vocabulary, just the vocabulary that pertains to your future goals and aspirations. A lot of cognates in here. Graduarse, colegio, la graduación, la universidad. Can you find any other cognates on page 452? I'll actually have you identify 8. And I think that should be a pretty easy endeavor given the amount of cognates that there are. As we go further along in the target language, more and more cognates at our disposal. I'll have you guys read these descriptions of other professions. It's on page 453. And then we're going to watch the video together. ¿Y tú qué vas a hacer? So this is a video featuring Pedro, Esteban, Lisa, and Claudia. Comprehension questions that you're going to answer after we watch the video. ¿A dónde van Pedro y Esteban y por qué? ¿Qué más piensa hacer Angélica en el futuro y por qué? ¿Qué más le gusta hacer Pedro y qué profesión piensa seguir? ¿Qué profesión le gustaría seguir a Esteban? ¿En quién ganó el concurso? ¿Qué le pide Esteban a Pedro? So, where are Pedro and Esteban going and why? What is Angelica thinking of doing in the future and why? What does Pedro like to do and what profession is he thinking about? What profession would Esteban like to pursue and who won the art competition? And what does Esteban ask Pedro? We'll go over those responses together in class, and then we're going to conclude class by beginning to work on your review activity. I'll actually give this to y'all today in class. Essentially what you're going to do for this assignment is find someone who can answer one of these 15 questions that pertains to your study guide for the final exam. You're going to work with 15 different people, a new person for each box. You're going to write the name of the person that you worked with in the box, and the answer that you were collectively able to come up with. You can write on the back of this paper. You can do in your notebooks. So name of the person that you worked with on the front, answer to the question on the back of the paper or on a separate notebook sheet of paper. You're going to take pictures of these, both the front and back, and submit those in Canvas. Page numbers refer to pages in the textbook, and I think that's it, y'all. Number 15 is kind of independent of the text, stuff that you learned about the target culture. And that is our agenda for today, y'all. Nos vemos en clase. Adiós.